The Galactic Council Hall was built to impress and intimidate. It floated in open space like a silver crown, large enough to hold thousands of species at once. Light from distant stars passed through its wide crystal walls. Delegates believed this place represented order in the universe. On this day, that belief began to crack. Park Ji-soo stood calmly at the human table. She wore a simple dark uniform, without medals or bright colors. Beside her sat Kang Hyan, silent and still, his hands folded. Other council members watched them with casual interest. Humans had been members for centuries. They were useful, obedient, and predictable. Or so the council believed. The High Speaker called the session to order. His voice echoed across the hall as he began to speak about tariffs, security fees, and new limits placed on Earth shipping routes. To many species, this was normal. The council demanded, and worlds complied. Park Ji-soo waited until the High Speaker finished. She then stood. Her movement was small, but the room grew quiet. She did not ask for permission to speak. She activated a small device on the table. A single document appeared in the air, glowing softly. It was short. Too short. In clear and steady words, Park Ji-soo spoke. She said that Earth was ending its membership in the Galactic Council. She said Earth would no longer pay fees, follow council law, or accept council authority. She said all human assets would withdraw immediately. There was no anger in her voice. No threat. Just fact. For several seconds, no one reacted. Then confusion spread through the hall. Translators struggled, assuming error. Some delegates laughed. Others demanded clarification. Kang Hyan stood next. He repeated the message in simple terms. Earth was done. There would be no debate, no vote, no appeal. The High Speaker demanded an explanation. He spoke of consequences, sanctions, isolation. Park Ji-soo looked at him with calm eyes. She said Earth had prepared for isolation long ago. She thanked the Council for what it had taught humanity, both good and bad. Then she closed the document. Without another word, the two humans turned and walked away. Their exit door sealed behind them with a soft sound. It echoed louder than any shout. Around the galaxy, humans moved at the same moment. Trade stations run by Earth shut down. Human ships left shared ports. Communication relays operated by humans went silent. Navigation systems that many species depended on suddenly stopped updating. At first, the Council believed this was a bluff. Humans were known for drama and symbolism. Surely they would return. Then reports began to arrive. A mining convoy failed to arrive because its human escort vanished. A food shipment was delayed because human engineers had shut down the route gates for maintenance that would never come. Pirate activity dropped to zero in some regions, not because pirates were defeated, but because something far worse had scared them away. On Earth, far from the shining council hall, the planet moved with quiet focus. Lee Tiemann stood in a deep control chamber beneath the surface of the planet. The room was old, built long before Earth joined the Council. Screens lit up as systems came online, systems no alien had ever inspected. Choi Yuna watched data streams with sharp attention. She had waited her entire life for this day. She confirmed the final disconnection protocols. One by one, links to Council networks were cut. Earth became a closed system. Above the planet, a faint shimmer spread through space. It was not a shield in the normal sense. It bent sensors, twisted signals, and hid movement. To the galaxy, Earth faded, not gone, but unreadable. Back at the Council Hall, panic finally replaced disbelief. Delegates shouted over one another. Species that relied on human medicine demanded answers. Worlds protected by human patrols sent emergency signals. The Council tried to contact Earth. Every call failed. The High Speaker ordered sanctions immediately. Trade bans were declared. Asset seizures approved. But there were no human assets left to seize. A junior analyst quietly reported that Earth fleets were no longer visible on any standard scan. Another analyst added that advanced scans were also failing. Fear crept into voices that once spoke with authority. A veteran delegate remembered old human warnings. Words once dismissed as complaints. Earth had said the Council took more than it gave. Earth had said unity built on control would always break. No one listened. Now the silence from Earth was louder than war. In distant systems, neutral worlds watched carefully. They noticed that where humans left, chaos did not follow. Instead, long-standing conflicts paused. Supply lines rerouted themselves. Automated systems continued to function without guidance, as if humans had planned for their absence. The galaxy began to understand that humans had never been careless partners. They had been patient ones. Park Jisu and Kang Hyan boarded a small ship that slipped away from the Council station unnoticed. As stars stretched into light, Kang Hyan finally spoke. He said the first step was done. Park Jisu nodded. She said the hard part would be watching the galaxy learn the truth. Behind them, the Galactic Council Hall still shone brightly. But for the first time in its long history, it felt empty. And far across the stars, the universe began to panic. The galaxy did not fall apart at once. It stumbled. In the days after Earth went silent, confusion ruled every major trade lane. Ships waited at empty gates. Cargo floated in space without clearance codes. Systems that once ran smoothly now depended on emergency crews who had never been trained for full control. The Galactic Council tried to hide the damage. Official broadcasts spoke of stability and strength. Behind closed doors, panic spread like fire. Emergency meetings replaced routine sessions. Delegates argued without pause. Some blamed Earth. Others blamed the Council itself. No one agreed on what to do. A senior logistics officer reported that nearly 40% of long-range transport routes had been designed or maintained by human engineers. Without them, failures were growing each hour. Repairs took longer. Accidents increased. Another report followed. Medical supply chains were breaking down. Human-produced medicine was common across hundreds of worlds. Factories still worked, but distribution systems had been cut cleanly, and without warning. The High Speaker demanded solutions. He ordered new patrol fleets to replace human ones. The results were poor. Council ships lacked the speed, range, and coordination humans had quietly provided. Pirate activity did not rise as expected. Instead, it vanished in some regions and surged violently in others. Where it surged, entire systems burned before Council fleets could respond. Fear grew. Far from the Council chambers, Kim Ara watched these events from a simple control room aboard a human station drifting beyond known borders. She wore no uniform markings. Rank did not matter here. Data flowed across her screens. Trade failures. Distress calls. Council orders ignored by automated systems. Everything unfolded as predicted. Han Seijin stood beside her, reviewing reports from deep space sensors. He noted that alien fleets avoided certain regions without knowing why. Old instincts warned them away. Kim Ira said humanity had mapped fear better than the galaxy ever knew. She said when people depend on you, they forget how much power you hold. The station received a message from Earth. It was short. Phase 2 was active. Across neutral space, human relief fleets began to move. They did not announce themselves. They did not request permission. They simply appeared where disaster was worst. A starving moon received food shipments delivered by silent human cargo ships. Broken medical hubs were repaired overnight by machines that worked without sleep. Refugee convoys found safe paths open through regions once considered impossible to cross. No council flags flew on these ships. Only a simple human mark. Few recognized worlds that accepted help noticed something strange. Humans asked for nothing in return. No contracts. No loyalty oaths. Only one condition was given. Do not involve the Galactic Council. Some worlds hesitated. Others agreed without question. Survival outweighed politics. Reports of this spread quickly. The Council demanded explanations. Kim Ira responded with a public message sent on open channels. She said humanity had not abandoned the galaxy. Humanity had only abandoned control. She said the Council confused authority with stability. Earth no longer shared that belief. The message was calm, clear, impossible to refute. Inside the Council Hall, anger erupted. Delegates accused humans of manipulation, of sabotage, of illegal interference. An intelligence team revealed a painful truth. Many of the automated systems keeping the galaxy alive had always been human-built. Control codes were never removed. The Council had trusted humans without understanding them. The High Speaker ordered preparation for forced reconnection. Recon fleets were dispatched toward human-controlled space. They never arrived. Ships reported navigation errors. Sensors failed. Crews experienced time distortion and signal loss. Fleets turned back or vanished from contact entirely. No weapons were fired. No warnings issued. Fear turned into dread. On Earth, Lee Tiemann observed quietly. He watched the galaxy react like a body losing balance. He did not smile. He felt no pride, only certainty. Choi Yuna joined him in the observation chamber. She reminded him that this path had been chosen long ago. Humanity learned early that survival required preparation, not permission. Earth cities continued normal life. Children went to school. Ships launched and landed. To most humans, nothing had changed. That was by design. Only those in deep command knew the truth. Humanity had stepped away from the center, not into the dark dot in distant systems. Council-loyal worlds began to question their leaders. They saw who came to help when systems failed. They saw who spoke and who acted. Some worlds quietly cut contact with the Council. Others delayed payments. A few openly refused orders. The galaxy was not breaking apart. It was shifting. Back on the human station, Kim Ira received confirmation from multiple systems. Independent alliances were forming. Not under Earth. Around Earth. Han. Sejin said the Council had lost something it could never rebuild. Trust. Kim Ira agreed. She said power taken can be challenged. Power given freely cannot. In the Council Hall, the High Speaker stood alone after another failed session. The great chamber felt larger now, emptier. He realized too late that Earth had not left in anger. Earth had left in confidence, and the galaxy was beginning to understand what that truly meant. The first real fear did not come from loss of trade or broken systems. It came from understanding. Across the galaxy, analysts finally stopped asking when Earth would return. They began asking why Earth never needed to. Independent research groups studied old records. They reviewed centuries of shared projects with humans. Patterns appeared that no one had noticed before. Human engineers always built backups. Human planners always prepared alternate routes. Human commanders always requested less authority than offered. The galaxy had mistaken caution for weakness. At the Council Intelligence Corps, a young analyst named Ru Hana presented her findings. She spoke slowly, choosing simple words so no meaning could be twisted. She explained that Earth had never depended on the Council for survival. Earth had used the Council as a learning ground. Her report showed how human fleets trained far beyond Council standards. How human factories produced more than reported. How deep space facilities existed outside. Known maps. Silence followed her presentation. A senior delegate asked why no one noticed before. Ruhana answered honestly. She said no one looked because humans solved problems quietly. The council dismissed her report as speculation. But fear had already taken root. In the outer systems. A crisis erupted. A massive stellar storm tore through a populated region. Power grids failed. Shields collapsed. Millions were at risk. The council mobilized emergency fleets, but they were slow and uncoordinated. Hours passed, then human ships arrived. They came from directions no charts recorded. Their movements were smooth and precise. Without speaking, they stabilized starside structures, restored power, and evacuated populations from danger zones. Local leaders watched in disbelief. One governor asked under what authority the humans acted. The human fleet commander, Seo Rin, responded with simple words. She said authority did not matter when lives were in danger. The rescue was complete within hours. The humans departed without ceremony. The council arrived days later. That moment changed everything. Footage spread across the galaxy. Worlds compared response times. They compared results. Questions became demands. Why were humans faster? Why were they better prepared? Why had the council never matched this level of readiness? Protests began on several core worlds. Citizens asked why they paid endless fees for protection that failed when it mattered most. The council attempted to restrict information. It failed. On Earth, Choi Yuna reviewed reports from neutral systems. She saw the shift in public opinion clearly. Fear of humans was turning into respect. Lee Tiemann joined her. He said this phase was dangerous. Respect could easily turn into dependency. Choi Yuna agreed. That was why humanity would not lead. Earth issued a public statement. It was shared freely across all channels. The message said humanity would assist in emergencies. Humanity would share knowledge. Humanity would trade fairly, but humanity would not rule. Worlds were told to govern themselves, to build their own defenses, to stand on their own. Some leaders felt insulted. Others felt relieved. In private meetings, several systems asked Earth to form a new council. A human council. Earth refused. This refusal confused many. Power was being offered and turned away. Kim Era explained this choice to a group of neutral observers. She said control always demanded sacrifice. Humanity had already paid enough. Instead of a council, Earth proposed networks. Shared systems without central authority. Mutual defense without command. Chains. Many worlds agreed. The Galactic Council saw its influence collapse faster than any invasion could have achieved. Trade. Routes realigned themselves around human-built infrastructure. Communication hubs ignored council directives. Even council patrols began requesting human navigation data. The high speaker called for unity. Few listened. In a desperate move, the council authorized a full military demonstration near human space. A show of force meant to restore confidence. Fleets gathered. Weapons powered up. Banners flew. As they advanced, space changed. Sensors reported impossible readings. Distance lost meaning. Fleets found themselves scattered across light years without explanation. No damage occurred. No ships were destroyed. A single message appeared on every screen. It stated that human territory was closed. Further approach would not be permitted. No signature. No threat. The fleets retreated in silence. Back on Earth, Park Jisoo watched the event unfold. She felt no satisfaction, only sadness. She remembered when humanity had first joined the council, when hope had been real. Kang Hyun stood beside her. He said the galaxy was not ready for equality. Then Park Jisoo said it was learning now. Across the stars, worlds made choices. Some clung to the council out of fear of change. Others stepped into independence for the first time. The universe did not collapse. It adapted. And slowly, painfully, it accepted a new truth. Humanity was not the center of power. Humanity was the line the galaxy could not cross. The Galactic Council still existed, but it no longer felt permanent. Its halls were quieter. Seats once filled by powerful delegates now sat empty or occupied nervous replacements. Conversations that once carried pride now carried doubt. The high speaker called for another emergency session. Attendance was thin. Reports arrived from across known space. More systems had stopped paying council fees. Several defense fleets refused deployment orders unless humans confirmed safe routes. Some worlds openly declared neutrality and cut formal ties. The council had not lost territory through war. It had lost relevance. Desperation led to one final plan. A group of senior members proposed a direct negotiation with Earth, not as equals, but as a demand backed by force. They believed fear could still restore control. A fleet was assembled, larger than any before. It moved slowly, with full broadcast signals active, meant to be seen. The message was clear. Obey or be isolated. As the fleet crossed into the outer boundary of human-monitored space, nothing happened. No warnings. No resistance. This false calm encouraged the commanders. They advanced further. And space folded, not violently, not visibly. Distances stretched. Time slipped. Communication lagged behind thought. Ships began reporting strange errors. Crews felt watched, not by sensors, but by something deeper. Before panic could turn into chaos, every vessel received the same transmission. It was Park Jisu. She spoke plainly. She said the fleet had crossed a boundary that no longer belonged to the council. She said Earth had no wish to harm them. She said this was the last warning. Moments later, every weapon system shut down. Not damaged. Disabled. Engines lost thrust. Navigation froze. The fleet was helpless. Across the galaxy, observers watched in silence as the proud armada drifted without control. Earth did not attack. After several hours, systems returned. The fleet was allowed to leave. The message was clear. Earth did not need to fight. The psychological impact was devastating. Council allies questioned their safety. Military commanders questioned their leaders. Citizens questioned the purpose of obedience. Protests grew louder. On several core worlds, council offices were closed by public order. Flags were taken down. In response, Earth made another move. Kim Era announced a universal access network. Any world could join. No fees, no hierarchy. Shared data. Shared defense alerts. Shared trade routes. Participation was voluntary. The response was immediate. Worlds joined, not because they feared Earth, but because they trusted it. The Council attempted to block access. It failed. Human systems operated beyond Council control. On Earth, Lee Tiemann watched the shift with concern. Power was gathering around humanity, despite every effort to avoid it. Choi Yuna reminded him that influence was not the same as rule. Humanity had set limits. That mattered. Still, the balance was fragile. A single spark could have changed everything. That spark came from within the Council. A radical faction accused the High Speaker of weakness. They attempted a covert strike on a neutral world aligned with Earth, hoping to force a response. The attack was swift and brutal, and it failed. Human systems detected the strike before weapons fired. Defense platforms activated automatically. Enemy ships were frozen in space, locked and powerless. The attackers were detained and disarmed. Evidence of Council involvement was broadcast publicly. Galaxy watched the truth unfold. The High Speaker resigned. Several Council members fled. Others were arrested by their own people. The Council was no longer broken. It was Exposed, Earth released a final statement. It said humanity would not punish the galaxy for the actions of a few. It said justice belonged to those affected. It said the era of distant rule was over. Worlds were free to choose their future. Some chose independence, some formed regional alliances, some still clung to the remains of the Council, but none doubted where true strength lay. Park Jisu stood at a quiet observation deck above Earth. Stars reflected softly against the planet below. Kong Hyon joined her. He asked if the universe was calmer now. Park Jisu said no. But it was more honest. She said fear built empires. Trust built survival. Behind them, Earth remained silent and watchful, not as a ruler. As a boundary the galaxy now respected. The universe did not end with fire or conquest. It ended with choice. Months passed after the last Council fleet drifted away in silence. In that time, the galaxy learned how to breathe without a single center telling it how to live. The old council halls still floated in space, but most chambers were dark. Records were archived. Control systems were shut down. What remained was a shell of authority without belief. In many systems, people gathered for the first time to decide their own future. Local leaders spoke to citizens instead of distant officials. Defense plans were written by those who would actually stand behind them. Mistakes were made. Conflicts happened, but they were honest mistakes. Human observers watched quietly. They did not interfere unless asked. Even then, they offered guidance, not orders. Kim Era traveled between systems aboard a small, unmarked ship. She listened more than she spoke. She recorded what worked and what failed. Humanity learned alongside the galaxy. On one world, rival regions almost went to war over resources. Human mediators helped them design a shared system instead. On another, a young alliance collapsed under its own weight. Humans did not step in. The world rebuilt stronger the second time. Trust grew slowly. On Earth, Lee Taman addressed a closed assembly. He reminded them why humanity walked away. He said power was easy to take and hard to carry. Earth had chosen to set it down. Choi, Yuna agreed. She said the galaxy feared humanity less now, not because humans were weaker, but because they were predictable. Acted when needed. They stopped when not. A final request arrived from the remains of the Galactic Council. They asked for guidance, not authority. Guidance. After long discussion, Earth agreed. Park Jisu traveled to the Council station one last time. The halls felt empty. Echoes followed her steps. She met the remaining delegates in a small chamber. No banners. No guards. She spoke plainly. She said the Council failed because it tried to own the galaxy. She said no single body could speak for all worlds. She offered them a choice. They could dissolve and return authority to their people, or they could transform into something new, a record keeper, a meeting place, a voice without power. The delegates chose the second option. The Galactic Archive was born. It held history, shared knowledge, and warnings. It enforced nothing. It commanded no one. Earth contributed its records freely. Other worlds followed. The galaxy gained memory without chains. Years later, children on distant planets learned about the time Earth left. They were taught that humans did not conquer the stars. They stepped back. And in doing so, they changed everything. Park Jisu stood once more above Earth, watching ships move along peaceful routes. Kong Hyon joined her quietly. He asked if she regretted anything. She said she regretted that it took fear for the galaxy to listen, but she did not regret walking away. Humanity had proven something rare. That strength did not need a throne across the stars. Independent worlds sent messages of thanks. Some sent trade offers. Some sent silence. Earth accepted all. No flags were raised. No. Victory declared. The universe did not kneel. It stood beside humanity. And for the first time in a very long history, the stars felt wide enough for everyone.